Hey YouTubers, we're going to go on a little motorcycle ride on the North Shore of the Dominican Republic. Hope you enjoy it. Okay everybody, we're getting ready to head out of here. And of course the dog goes crazy whenever we go cruising. He wants to follow us down the road. That's Rufo, by the way. A crazy dog. The other dog, I don't know if we get it on tape or not, but it's a Sasha. She's a Rottweiler. And this is the road coming up to my house. And Mick and I are connected through our headset, so when he talks, you should be on the video too.
Hello.
And if you get a chance, check out Mick's channel. What is your channel?
If you go to Mick KC, M-I-C-K, KC, the Subboat Doris.
Oh, we got a bunch of kids and dogs and everything chasing us. And here we go. We're just going to go down to the beach, which is really close if you were to turn right and go straight, if you could get there. But we have to go about a mile down this road. And then that's where the beach is that we go to. And these motorcycles are so much fun here in the Dominican Republic. They're just little 250cc motorcycles, but they get us around just fine. They don't burn hardly any fuel. Fuel's a little expensive here. It's about $5 a gallon, but you can go, I think, about 250 miles on the tank. And, you know, it only has a little, I think, less than a 3-gallon tank, so you can have a lot of fun for not too much money on these things. Then you see the cows. The cows are everywhere. I don't know what's up with Mick. He's going like a bat out of hell today.
Sorry, am I going too fast?
Yeah, you're going fast, man.
I'm not used to being in the front.
Right, yeah. I go about between 60 and 70 kilometers usually. Unless it's rough. I mean, we're going to go on some rougher roads here in a little bit. This is the first time I've used this camera, so it's going to be interesting to see how everything turns out. It's a helmet cam from Senna. It's called an EVO, and I can connect it to my phone. I can actually see what it's doing on my phone. Right now, of course, we're going down the road, so I can't do that, but I'm hoping this thing turns out really cool and you guys are all enjoying it. These speed bumps are a thing here in Dominican Republic. They are very common everywhere. So,
Hey,
yeah.
if you want to go left or right here?
Let's turn right. We'll go down to the beach. We'll do a little tour of the beach that we like to go to. This is La Isabella. This is the place where Christopher Columbus came. When he came to the Americas, he came here and made his first development. So there's an old historic area. So back in the 1600s, he developed an area back there, and they've kind of made a museum type thing out of it. Sometime we'll do a tour of that. Then going down to the beach here, I have a lot of friends that live right on the beach. And with the coronavirus and everything going on right now, it will be completely vacant, even though it's Saturday. Well, I shouldn't say that. There might be a few people down here. There's a couple little bars and things like that we can have a beer, enjoy camaraderie and stuff like that. But they've made everything closed because of the coronavirus. So came down here yesterday, I think it was, and there was nobody here, which is kind of eerie. As you can see, there's some houses right along here. They're pretty cool. It's really a beautiful little spot. Here's one little beach shack type place that we hang out at sometimes. One we typically hang out though is up here. It's called Yuri's, and he's got a little shack here that he serves pizzas and pasta, stuff like that. Some of my friends. You can see there is nobody here. And typically on a day like today, there would be maybe 30, 40 people here enjoying it, especially on a Saturday, a beautiful day like it is right now. But right now, nothing.
Continue on.
Continue on. Here we go. Honestly, I don't know what they call this beach. I think they La Isabella Beach maybe, or the other little town that's connected to the area is called Castillo. Could be a Castillo Beach. And one thing about this area is there are a lot of motorcycles. Almost everybody drives a motorcycle, gets around on a motorcycle. So one of my workers actually, or not my worker, but a friend of mine that lives there on the beach, that's his worker. His name is Abby. He actually has a YouTube channel also. And he does it, he's a Haitian, and he does it for his Haitian friends. Technically, this is a El Castillo is the name of this town. However, if we were to go straight, that would be the Historica area called La Isabella. And since the queen, Isabella, was here, was the queen when Christopher Columbus came here, there are an awful lot of things with Isabella in it. Like Via Isabella, which is a town just down the road, and actually there are other towns called La Isabella. There's several of them, which is a little bit confusing. Now just up the road here is actually the site of the very first Christian church, or I guess any kind of church, in the Americas. Right here to our left, you'll see that, and it's kind of a Spanish-style church. They actually redid it not too long ago, but that is the site, and that the actual original church looked identical to it. So that's one of our, someday we'll do a little tour of that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, coming down the road here a little bit. Some of this stuff I'm hoping that Mick will edit out. Now this little town that we're coming to has another name, and I can't remember it. It's not very big. There was actually people living in the historic area down there where Christopher Columbus first came. We didn't go into that area, but when that area was, the government decided they wanted to take that area back and turn it into a historic area. So the people that were living there, they built this little town so that they could relocate them here. And that's what this, and so a lot of people call this area the Projecto area, or projects, even though it's really a pretty cool little spot, pretty cool little town. And so that's a little history of this area here. You see a lot of shacks, you know, a lot of Haitians live here, as well as Dominicans. The further you get away from the cities, you'll find more and more Haitians. Haitians are very cool people. Usually they do most of the work that's around. They do it cheaply. And they're very trustworthy for the most part that I've found. That may be not really accurate. I mean, there's people like that everywhere, so. We're going to go down to the river, which is just down the road here, a little ways, about a mile, or, well, not even a mile. And they're building a bridge. It got washed out maybe 20 years ago, and they never rebuilt it until now. They're actually finally starting to rebuild it. And they have a little ferry system set up, so if you're on a motorcycle, you can get on the ferry, which you'll see, which is very interesting and extremely dangerous, really. We've used it quite a bit, but it is definitely kind of take your life into your own hands if you want to go on it. It costs 50 pesos to do it, which is a buck. Basically, 1 peso is worth 2 cents of our money. So 100 pesos is a $2, like a $2 bill, and it's a very common denomination here. We'll come down, we're getting close to the river now. And here you can see the bridge that they're finally going to rebuild. Which we're all super excited about, because there's a really nice town on the other side that I like to go to. But right now, unless you want to cross the river on this little ferry, which I'm going to show you in just a second, which is right there. There's a guy, what you do is you roll your bike up onto that rickety little thing there that has the blue floats on it, and he pushes you across. And right now it's not too bad because the water is down. It might be possible to actually make it across there without the ferry, but I'm going to guess it's about 3 foot, 2.5 to 3 foot deep at the deepest spots. Usually when we don't have any rain, there's just a dribble through here, so you can ride across this with no problem at all. It is affected by the tides. The tides will actually, if you have a high tide, it'll be a couple, 2 or 3 foot deeper. So anyway, that's that. I think we're going to take a different route, which is a little bit cool, but not super cool for Dominican standards goes. And Mick and I have the identical bikes, really. They look almost the same. He came down, he bought his used. These kind of bikes are very common. The street bikes are more common, but these little dirt bikes are so much fun. We're going to turn right here. They're made in China. You can buy a really nice, good used one for around $1,000 US. And if to buy one new is about $1,800. So they're very, very reasonably priced, and the parts on them are very cheap. They do break down a little bit, you have flat tires, all that kind of stuff. But there is, they call them gomeros, or a place where they fix tires almost about every half mile along the road somewhere. And you can get your stuff fixed. And there's also bike mechanics and bike stores where they sell parts, excuse me, all over the place. And that's not the coronavirus. That's just unfortunately, it's a smoking cough that I have, and I need to quit smoking, and that's going to be one of my goals in the very near future. Same as lose weight. I mean, I think Mick and I are both on that program.
Yeah.
And we're going to follow this road. As you can see on the right is the river. And here we have some more friendly cows. They just wander around. God only knows who owns these things. But it's just a beautiful spot. This little spot here with a river running through it and stuff. And we got mountains, kind of not real tall mountains here in this area, but they can get up to about 2,000-3,000 foot. Not very far from here, maybe within 5 or 6 miles. And the tallest peak in the Dominican Republic is actually about 10,000 foot, and sometimes it gets snow. So even though there's this far south, we will get snow occasionally, but not here, obviously, not in this area because of the altitude. I think they said the coldest it's ever gotten around here in this lower altitude is about 55 degrees. It hasn't done that this year. I think probably coldest it's ever gotten maybe in the 60s occasionally, but not very often. Most of the time it gets down to in the 70s at night, and 85, 90 during the day. And the temperatures are probably about 10 degrees hotter in the summer. So the highs and the lows are maybe 10 degrees higher. So it gets a little bit warm, maybe up to 95 in the hottest part of the day. But I've never seen it up into 100 or above, maybe close to 100 occasionally, but not very often. We're going to some more settlements. Again, names unknown. It's kind of hard to know, but people live here and they have businesses and survive and thrive and everything. But with the coronavirus, everybody here, you can see, is pretty much staying in their house. And actually in Dominican Republic right now, they have an order where you have to be off the roads in your house unless it's an emergency between 5 in the afternoon and 8 in the morning. So it's a curfew. If the police see you on the roads or doing anything, they're going to stop you and ask you what you're doing. If it's an emergency, of course, then that's okay. But if it's not, then you have to probably get a ticket and maybe take you to jail. I don't know. And so far as I know, there have not been any reported cases of the coronavirus in this area. But however, with that being said, I don't know if they're doing any testing either. So there could be something here and nobody would even know it. But there are doing tests in the bigger cities, which is Puerto Plata, Santiago, Santo Domingo. And those cities are about 55 to 45 miles away from this spot. So you can see why I love the motorcycle. It's just the coolest thing to me. Being able to take these roads. These are really, really rough in a car, but they're kind of fun and cool on a motorcycle to me. I think Mick's getting a little more used to it. Originally, he liked the pavement the most, but
Yeah.
Mick's been riding a motorcycle a long time, but mostly almost all road bike stuff, so not a lot of off-road. But I'd say you're getting pretty good at it now, huh?
Yeah, it's coming along all right. Yeah, I'm back to riding off-road like I was when I was 12.
Yeah, right, I know. That's what it reminds me of. It takes me back to my youth. We used to run around the country roads. I grew up in a small town, kind of like this in Kansas, and we had country roads, and we had the Honda Trail 70s back then, and actually we didn't have them. One of my best friends at the time had two, and so we terrorized the whole neighborhood with those things everywhere, almost every day of the summertime. Had a fantastic time. So this kind of brings me back to that. I mean, that's what I feel like.
Yeah, I used to be able to jump creeks when I was a kid.
Yeah, right.
It's been a long time. It's all good. Just all came back though.
Okay guys, we're going to conclude the video here, but we're going to get another video out to you guys real shortly that concludes the rest of this trip. If you like what you saw and want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and you won't miss anything then. Take care, talk to you later.